In late October of 2003, Jen and I moved across the country from Oregon to New Jersey uh, in the hopes of finding work and a place to live and, a new life. We got there. Jen found a job pretty easily. I was supposed to have a job already waiting for me from the company that I had been working for, security company. Supposed to just transfer from my current role to a new position in New Jersey. When I got to Jersey and I checked in with them, they were like, "Oh, we don't have anything for you right now. Check back in a few days or we'll call you," whatever. And this continued for several weeks into December when they finally told me that my previous employer had listed me as non-rehirable. My previous manager, I should say, listed me as non-rehirable, which I didn't understand because I had been working with them for like 6 years. Never had any issues. And, I had left under good terms. I gave them several months notice, like 6 months notice, that I was going to be moving to New Jersey and everything had been set. So I ended up doing some dog walking in my local neighborhood, taking care of the dogs in my building and around the neighborhood, and then doing some cat watching as well. And I enjoyed it. Got some exercise and, got to know the neighborhood, but it wasn't enough money to pay any bills. Poor Jen was basically supporting me for that 6 months and 7 months. And I think she claimed me on her taxes. If she didn't, she should have. In late June of that year, we went to the movies to see Harry Potter movie coming out. And while we were waiting for the movie to start, on the screen, it showed that the theater we were at was hiring for, their staff. So I took a few minutes and went out and got an application, filled it out, turned it back in before we even left, went back, watched the movie, and a couple days later I got a phone call from the manager and she wanted to do an interview. So I went in and we interviewed, and she was like, "I can't pay you what you were making." And I was just like, "I need a job, and if you hire me, you're not going to regret it." And so she took a chance and she hired me. And I started out selling tickets, which isn't all that complicated, but sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking with all the loud music going on and people, wanting this and wanting that or a refund or whatever, but we survived. After a week of being in the tickets, they announced that they were looking for shift supervisors. And anyone could apply, even if you were new. And so I threw my hat in the ring, because why not? I mean, the worst thing that can happen is they tell you no. They're not going to choose you. It's not like they're going to fire you because you didn't get the promotion. You just continue to work and build your skills and, try again the next time. But I got lucky and they liked my mechanical abilities. They needed somebody to work in the projection booth and, help out up there. So I spent 3 months training with my friend Gail, she became my friend, learning how to build prints and add trailers. This was when we were still using film. So it wasn't like, there wasn't a disc to put into the player or, streaming or anything like that. This is a little more old school. And I loved it. I thought it was great. I learned how to move prints without dropping them on the floor. And if Gail ever watches this, poor Uncle Nino, we know what happened and we're sorry. That was a movie reference, sorry. Anyway, I worked up there for several months. Then I started training to supervise the floor. Those are the people who clean the theaters in between the movies and things like that. That's a rather nasty job because people just throw food everywhere, or dirty diapers, or I don't even know what all they do, but they do. And I also learned a little bit about concessions. It wasn't my strong point, but I was figuring things out and learning how to manage that area as well. And then after a few months doing that, there was an opening in management. And again, I'm like, why not throw my hat in the ring and see what happens? And the general manager really liked me, and so she talked to corporate and they said yes, and so I became a manager. So I worked 6 months total before becoming a manager, which was pretty cool. And I was basically just a floor manager. I'd pick up money at certain points during the day and, count it and everything. I wasn't really in charge of an area. There were, I think, 6 or 7 of us, different managers. So the others had specific assignments. I was just a floor manager. But then one night I was heading to work and I got a phone call and they were like, hey, this other theater that's actually near your house is short staffed tonight and could use some help. Could you go over there to manage the place? And I was like, sure. So I turned my truck around and I drove back to Jersey City and went down there and I met the manager. Her name's Sarita, and we got along really well, really liked each other. It was a smaller theater, but it was also extremely busy anyways because it was in the heart of New Jersey, or Jersey City, I should say. And people would come over from Newark or from out of the city because it was a little cheaper, and New York City. And, so it could get popping there pretty well. I was there for a few days because, they were very short-staffed. They'd had a couple managers quit. Somebody was sick. So I was there, and then Sarita was like, hey, do you want to come and work at this theater, transfer over here? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? It was closer to the house, and I could get home faster. So it took like a week or so, but it was approved by the home office and I transferred over. And I then stepped in to become the projection manager, the concession manager, and the facilities manager, because we were a much smaller operation, still very busy, as I said. So with projection, I made sure that all of the equipment was running correctly and that my staff was trained up. And, I'd step in once in a while if necessary to build a print or put it up on, get it running for a show or anything like that. Which was great because I was the only manager who knew how to do the projection, which also wasn't great. But anyway. I also did concessions, which meant doing inventory, making sure everything there was working properly, calling help if necessary to get something fixed, staffing, training the staff and things like that. And then I was the facility manager, in which I oversaw any damage to the building. So if one of the toilets got clogged up, I'd get my maintenance guy in there, get him to fix it. If a seat was broken, we'd fix it. If something needed like larger repairs, maybe the AC unit wasn't working, we'd call somebody to come in and fix that as well. So that was my job. I ended up working there another 4.5 years, I think. I was about 5.5 years before I left there. And I actually really, really enjoyed it. Got to meet a lot of people, got to interact with a lot of people. The kids that worked for me were great, and I call them kids because they were like 16 to 22-year-olds. A few older people mixed in once in a while, but not too many. And it was a great overall experience. Got to see a lot of free movies and eat some popcorn and, have that crazy life of early hours to late hours. But again, really nice, really enjoyed it. And that was an amazing experience. I'm glad I did it.